Hello everyone, welcome back to another lunch club with Teens Run DC. It's Coach Sal here. Last week I showed you how to slow down and practice mindfulness through coloring. This week I'm showing you how to practice mindfulness through origami. I'm making an origami bird that you can make as you follow along these steps, and in the end it flaps its wings too. Taking time to perform each fold in an origami model carefully and precisely produces the best results in the end. The mind of the person folding the model will be in the moment as they focus on each step in turn. I had a conversation with somebody else who folds origami models a few years ago, and they said that they get really impatient when they fold a new design, and that starts with one of the classic bases. He had folded so many bird bases that he wasn't interested in folding another one. He just wanted to rush through those steps as fast as possible to get to the good stuff further on. This is a complete opposite to both mindfulness and origami and my own personal approach to paper folding. I think part of the joy of origami is in the methodical approach it needs. Each step is built upon the ones that go before it. Every piece of paper will feel subtly different or respond in a slightly different way when folded. Taking time over each step gives you the chance to enjoy that, as well as the best chance of folding a model that you will be happy about in the end. Practicing mindfulness in origami is not about folding differently or learning other techniques. The art of mindful origami is about how you approach the process of folding, how you go about each step, making sure you are aware of your own senses and feelings as you do it, and being mindful really, which is kind of the point of mindfulness. I'm going to give you some things to think about that will help you become more mindful as you make your origami bird. So the first tip I want to give you is to focus on the step that you're doing. Sometimes it's fun to look ahead in the instructions and find out whether the flap you're folding will become a leg, a wing, or a tail. Sometimes it's just as much fun to fold each step and let the model emerge as you go along. Whichever you choose to do, try to keep yourself focused in the moment on the step you are doing. This will reduce the chance of mistakes and promote a methodical, patient approach. It will also avoid a sense of disappointment when you see a step that says something like, repeat the last 8 steps on the other 11 flaps. And the next tip I'll give you is to slow down. There can be almost a subconscious tendency to fold quickly, particularly if you are folding something for the first time and you are impatient to get to the interesting bit, or if the step you're doing is hard and several parts of the paper are supposed to move in different directions at the same time but don't seem to want to go. Don't be tempted to rush the folding. You are unlikely to be happy with the result. Make a conscious decision to slow down, be methodical, and fold every step at the same pace. You'll fold more accurately, which will make the following steps easier, and final model will look much neater and more precise. Next step is enjoy the paper. As you fold each step, be aware of the paper, the way it feels to the touch, the rustling sound it makes when you fold it. Notice how the paper behaves when you fold it. Does it hold it crease well? Have those 2 creases really formed that nice clean point you were expecting, or has the very end folded back in on itself? No 2 pieces of paper are ever exactly the same. There might be a slightly lighter shade of blue than the last sheet you folded, or maybe the air when you are slightly more humid than it was yesterday, so it might not be as square as you want it. But this is particularly true of other handmade papers with long fibers. They can change in thickness quite dramatically. The next step is to not judge. So, yes, you'll generally get a better finished model from folding accurately as you go along, but every model will always come out slightly different, so don't worry if it's not perfect. As you fold through multiple layers of paper in the later steps of this model, you can end up with paper creep anyway, and you can make a fair amount of adjustments along the way. And also, know when to walk away. No matter how much you tell yourself not to judge your efforts, to slow down and fold carefully, there will be times that it just doesn't work. Maybe you feel like you just can't get that fold the way you want it, or you can't understand that step even though you've tried it 15 times. You've had one too many coffees and your hands are shaking. Maybe folding simply doesn't feel right today. Maybe you're just tired. If that's how you feel, then put it down. Don't judge yourself, the instructions, the model, or the designer. Just acknowledge that it isn't working for you today and put it to one side. It took me several attempts to fold a couple of the steps in this origami bird. You can always come back to it as well. When you come back to an origami model and finish something that wasn't working for you a few days ago, you feel so much better. If you still can't make it work, either fold something else or put it to one side again. Lastly, there's no real answer to good models to follow while being mindful. It basically comes down to what you like folding. Some people find that modular origami is particularly good for mindfulness. The repetitive process of folding the same module over and over again and then assembling the final design helps develop a methodical approach. Personally, I prefer creative representational origami. I recommend that people who are just starting to explore origami as a mindfulness tool should begin with traditional origami design, as they tend to be easy to fold like this bird. This bird is more of a medium level of origami, so it takes a little more of harder approaches to folding, but if you look online, you can find easier origami things to make, such as a paper boat. I know a lot of students in school, they like making balloons or dream catchers through origami. So it all depends up to you what you like to make, and I'm sure anything you prefer to make, you can find it online through a simple Google search, and at that point, it's up to you to take that piece of paper and make it what you want it to be and not judge yourself on it. And thank you for watching this lesson. If you make a bird, take a picture and send it to TRDC, or post it on your story tagging us.